In this workout, we're going to focus on the gates of the wrist. But to begin, let's just settle in and connect with the legs and the feet. So getting stable, feeling down and balancing the weight left and right, front and back. What's going to happen over time is that you'll get more comfortable and more stable, but you'll also settle into higher quality practice faster. So what happens is you'll learn to find the precision of your alignments faster. But at the same time, you're also going to get better and better at not rushing the settling in process. So you'll feel your body, wherever you're coming from, your transition from not practicing to practicing. It's not that it's always going to be easy to do, but you recognize what that process is like, and you'll make it easier to settle into it. You'll also learn not to rush the mind as it's settling into the body, rush the alignments coming together. But they'll always feel more familiar, more stable, and more comfortable as you go. So now just feeling the weight falling evenly through the left side and the right side of the lower body. And from the hip joints, getting nice and stable, lengthening upward from the base of the spine, through the rib cage. When you get to the height of the shoulder blades, feel up through the crown of the head and out through the arms simultaneously, so that you have a sense of arriving at the fingertips and the crown at the same time. And one of the things that working on the wrists and the hands will help us over the next couple sessions, next couple weeks, one of the things that you'll get better at is when you get the sense of connecting out through the fingertips and connecting up through the top of the head, you'll be able to get there and feel it and connect to it without stiffening up. So you'll feel length without stiffness. And you'll start to recognize when stuff is moving through your body versus when you're pushing and forcing, even from the point of view of just maintaining this baseline sense of openness, moving away from collapsed, but not quite going so far to stiffen the neck, the hands, or the arms when you're trying to fill out the structure of the body. So with that feel of having opened up a little bit, just settle the mind on the crown of the head. And staying light on the surface, letting things dissolve. Over time, you will move inward. But for the stuff we're revisiting now at the top, there's no need to go deep into this. It's just, you sort of want to have the attitude of checking in, opening, make sure these gates above the wrists are online, connected, and part of the flow that you're trying to build up. So now coming down through the temples and the third eye. And down to the gates of the eyes, so feel behind the eyes as best you can. It becomes more of a challenge as you get down through the arms to feel left and right simultaneously. So take these gates, like the temples, the eyes, the ears, that are on the two sides of the body but relatively close together, to practice that ability to feel left and right simultaneously. Without feeling like you're jumping place to place, or you kind of let the mind rest in the middle and feel them both at the same time. That's ideal. Same through the ears, the centers of the ears. And then down from the back of the head, down through all the spaces between the vertebrae of the neck. Just lightly trying to connect to all the spaces. There's a lot of stuff to feel through anytime we're in the spine or the neck. But you just want a sense of openness, lightness, and spaciousness height by height through the neck. All the way to the base of the neck. And then down from the roof of the mouth, the whole front channel, the jaw, the roof of the mouth, the throat notch, and down to the base of the sternum, focusing on the front of the body. And when you feel a big section like this, what's always interesting is to feel the contrast between different parts of the body, different heights. So notice down the front, around the chest, around the heart versus the throat, and see if you can just bring them into balance with each other so that they feel equally open and connected. And what it means is you may just need to put a little bit more awareness on one part that's less obvious or less clear or less open, but you maintain a lighter awareness on the part that's really clear and really connected. Good, so now feeling into the shoulders, feeling the gates around the shoulder joint first before we feel into the shoulder. So letting the mind spread from your center line out to your sides, encompassing both sides simultaneously. The tops of the shoulders nest, and on the inside of the shoulder blade. And remember, when you go to dissolve something like this, especially an area that might have a lot of bound physical tension, the tendency of your feeling awareness of the mind is going to be to really dive into the physical tension. And as much as possible, as best you can, feel what's there physically, but energetically to get the energy of that area to resolve and the energy of the gates to let go, it has to be lighter. So you've got this big ball of physical tension like you're holding it in your hand. You want to be focused more on what it's like for the hand to be doing the holding rather than the ball in the middle of the hand. Right, so don't squeeze in with the mind, don't let the mind contract into the blockage, but contain the blockage, feel the blockage, and it'll naturally start to unwind and unravel, dissolve and let go. And if you start to get that happening around the periphery of the shoulder, all those outer gates, then there's going to be a natural and easy movement of the mind in towards the center. If everything gets contracted around the edges of the shoulder and tensed up, then it's not easy for the mind to penetrate inward. So hold the outside to be able to move inside. Now draining down the arms, dropping down the arms, sinking the mind through the arms. Let's come down to the elbow. We want to take the same approach around the outsides of the elbow that we did at the shoulder. So first, feel all the little gates around the elbow, above, below, inside, outside, directly in the center on the sides, but establish the outside. And then feeling into the center of the elbow. With some awareness around the edges, around the periphery. Making sure that you hold the elbow with enough lightness and enough spring that the shoulders and the neck aren't getting jammed shut and closed down. Good, so now, whatever you feel like is released and let go at the elbow, try to have a feeling of sinking that chi down the forearms until you come to the wrist. And we're going to map out the gates of the wrist just like we did in the elbows. Very similar model energetically for how these joints work. So on the back of the wrist, feel above and below the joint, and on either side of the center line. So 4 minor gates on the back of the wrist. Let's start there. And even when you feel into these small spaces, these minor gates, it's the same principle we talked about in the shoulders. So if you find physical tension and holding there, you need to let the mind sort of stay light, stay containing, stay around, and dial into the frequency of the energy that's there, not the physical tension or holding or whatever you're feeling there. Now feeling the inside of the wrist. Again, 4 gates, 2 above, 2 below, left and right, or inside, outside. Now directly on the sides. 1 on the inside, 1 on the outside. And then from all the way around, feel right into the center of the joint. And this can be really challenging to simultaneously be letting the mind move inward towards the center of something. That can be really murky, hard to discern. And also feeling it going on the left side and the right side at the same time. Not easy, so give yourself plenty of time. Be gentle with the process. Good, and now just feeling out through the hands, nice and light, out through the fingertips. And then from the armpits, the shoulder blades, and the chest, letting your mind soak into the torso and have the feeling of everything from the head, neck, and shoulders dropping down through the rib cage, down through the torso. Everything from the collarbone to the height of the solar plexus, just let a sinking wave start to happen. You feel more grounded, heavier. This is just a nice, thorough clearing of the system. Down through the belly, the lower back. Slowly letting the weight and that sinking kind of pool in the pelvis. And down through the joints of the hips, the thighs. Down through the centers of the thighs. the knee joints. Again, when you get this heaviness, this sinking, the sense of movement through, don't collapse the knees. You got to find a way to hold them so that stuff passes through them, drops through them. Into the lower leg. Down through the shins, the calves, everything you can feel around the joint. Around the bones, around the limbs. Moving down towards the ankles. And even if the legs are getting tired or a little bit stiff, it's important to have a clear sense of connection through the ankles and feet every time you finish your practice. So just take an extra minute or two to feel the feet on the floor, softening that interface between the feet and the floor as best you can at this point. And just letting everything from the crown of the head have a sense of draining down through the feet, down into the ground. Finishing with the sense that your energy is still and quiet and a little more grounded and connected into the earth. Good job.